Well, hello, everybody. It's Tuesday, and literally, the market just started pumping a few minutes ago after all the concern over government shutdowns and everything else. But let's get into it. Big thank you to Sean D, T&D, K8, and everybody else for joining. This one is called, let me kick myself out, 2026 out, 2027 in. And you might wonder, what the hell do I mean by that? Well, it's how long the market could run. That is the question. So let's get into it. Thank you all for coming. And not financial advice. And hello, G Snide. I hope that makes. Actually, did the audio work there for a second? I hope so. Anyway, first time live. John, thank you for coming. And G Snide joined Patreon to tsunami my returns before Skynet takes over the trading algos. Yes, that's been my paranoia now for many years. We'll see if it comes to fruition in about 2 or 3 years. Hopefully longer. The more time we have, the better we have. And this video is actually a little bit about time. Let's get into the ugly news first. And New Zealand is up. James, thank you for coming. Another James. Let's look at some of the unlocks here. There's so many this week. It's kind of nuts. But SUI is there, 1.23%. IGN, 14%. ATH, sounds like all-time high. No idea what that is. 18% unlock. Say 1.2%. Arbitrum, 2%. And that's all she wrote. So unlocks are very important because they do bring a lot of sales pressure into play. And if you're wondering why your token hasn't gone up, it's probably because of tokenomics and unlocks. That's why we cover it. Now, this is not a fiat channel, but nobody wants treasuries. We can see here now for the first time since whatever year that is, decades, first time since 1996, gold has eclipsed U.S. Treasury holdings as a percentage of foreign reserves by central banks. That is stunning. Everybody is trying to trash their fiat as quickly as they possibly can to survive. And even gold is better than fiat. Imagine that. And the market is terrified about a government shutdown. It's the same drama that happens every year or so. But Kalshi now predict 86% chance of a government shutdown. Remember, the markets get rattled up to this event. And the minute it happens, nobody cares. Markets go on. So don't let it freak you out. There might be some volatility. And this is another scary chart. We actually have quite a bit of ugly news today. Sorry about the grief tidings, my friends. But a couple of things you notice here. Since the Jackson Hole, Jerome Powell dovish speech, it's pretty wild what has happened since then. Gold is up 15%. Gold normally takes 3 to 5 years to move 15%. It moved that much in 4 weeks, my friends. This is very unusual, and it says the rise in gold isn't about dollar debasement, but it's about fiat dying and a global debt crisis. So again, when you see things like this happen, it's a big warning sign that fiat and debt world we are in is in trouble. What else? Dixie is at I think it's the low since 2022, which should be good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has struggled. It's pretty much flat since the Jerome meeting. Oil down and tanking. And what else do we have there? S&P 500 up. So all in all, good, but Bitcoin is still lagging. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Now, some bad news, my friends. Microsoft is now also embedded with XAI. Grok 4 is now running on Azure when their AI Foundry solution. And that must really upset Sam Altman. He must be having a hard time struggling with that Microsoft, who invested a truckload of money in OpenAI, is now also hedging their bets. Not good. Anyway, speaking of OpenAI too, they are losing $2.33 billion a month. Shout out to CoreWeave, that is a beneficiary from a lot of this. And their losses have 4x year over year. Okay, they are throwing a lot of money after something that is, the ChatGPT 5 was supposed to be the best LLM out there. It's not. In fact, even things like Sonnet and Claude are better at coding. Of course, Grok is the best at coding, best at reasoning, etc. So this is a worry. Well, they'll continue to throw money. in the hole to try catch up. But can they catch up? No, they can't because they don't have enough compute. Can they get more compute? Yes. Will the leader Grok get more compute faster than them and make it coherent? Yes. So it's really hard. But a ton of money not only is paid to stock-based compensation, about $2.5 billion, if I recall, a ton of money, another $1 billion on servers. Well done to NVIDIA. They're also spending $2.5 billion renting servers. So these things are marked up heavily. It's way better to own your own stuff than rent it. The less people you have with their fingers in the pie, the better off you are. But anyway, totaling this up, annual basis, $28 billion a year. Wow, that's a lot of money, And expect electricity costs to go a lot higher. This is also tied to AI data center demand, and it's also a frightening statistic. This is a Bloomberg analysis of wholesale electricity prices for tens of thousands of locations across the country. And the AI boom with the insatiable demand for power is going to gobble it all up. And now, I think over the last 5 years, electricity has gone up 267%, and it's about to go an awful lot higher. So if you can get some solar, my friends, try to do that, or else make your house very electric efficient, because it's going to get real expensive. And I'll move myself down here to the bottom. This US tariffs are exploding upwards. We're still in the bad news section, everybody. But now tariffs were $30 billion in August. And believe me, I understand the pain of what you're feeling. I have a friend who imports ovens from Italy. And now all those ovens that he resells in the United States are 15% more expensive. And he has to pass it on to customers or eat some of it. So I do understand the pain of tariffs. But I also understand the unfair situation that the country was in before these tariffs have been put into place. But anyway, the good news about this, I do hope they put all this money that they gained into Bitcoin. That would be cool, to fund the SBR. We'll see. Now, good news, my friends. Lots of good news. Fear and greed is 50, slightly higher. Last week, I think, was 44, if I recall. And ironically, the stock market is exactly 50 as well. So they're both completely in line. September's up 5.2%. Yes, we had a rocky weekend and a big rebound, and then a little bit of rockiness over the last 24 hours. And again, a big rebound again. Bitcoin shot up literally, let me see, we fell down to 112.7 this morning, and now it's 114.5. That's a $2,000 swing in a matter of very little amount of time. But remember, if September ends positive, it bodes very well for the next 3 months. They will be fire. Not only do we have October, we have Moonvember, and December is always good as well. And it could even run longer, and we'll be talking more about that too. Now let's look at performance over the last 7 days. Of course, Bitcoin against everything else. Everything else kind of weak. The alts took it in the shorts last week after I confirmed AltSeason began last week. It did, and then it ended abruptly. And here we are back again. Everything pretty much lost 2% against Bitcoin over the last 7 days. And Bitcoin itself is now up over the last 7 days. It's up $600, $620 as we speak, actually. So this literally was taken 10 minutes before I went live. It's already out of date. So Bitcoin's moving fast, real fast. Like it just shot up another $100, $120 in the time I just mentioned the last time it hit 114.4. Now it's 114.540. 545. It's shooting up. Somebody's buying. I don't know who it is. Maybe one of you legends out there is buying. Now, digital asset funds were weak for the week. Okay, we had a little bit of a dipperoonie. Nothing too hectic, but we did fall a little bit down to the tune of nearly $1 billion last week. But boy, we had $1 billion flow in just yesterday. So all the last week was immediately eliminated on Monday from all of this, which is really good to see. And both Bitcoin and Ethereum were on fire. Absolutely on fire. Something else is on fire too. But just to zoom out, so you don't see the day-to-day or week-to-week noise, September is looking very positive for Bitcoin ETF. Nearly 4 billion has flowed in. August was sleepy, slightly red, but boy, has it come back with vengeance. And the ETH ETF also just went slightly green. It was quite red as of last week, but yesterday they had $500 million flow in, which made it positive. Again, ETH ETFs looking positive for September too. So not all is not lost. And today, by the way, is the last day of September. Who's ready for October? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading them live as I do this as well, as I juggle away. Anyway, Bitcoin is still lagging global M2 hard. That's the orange line is Bitcoin price. Global M2 keeps making new all-time highs. And it's only a matter of time before gravity wins. TND is ready. Woohoo. Awesome. Thank you for coming. This is craziness. Let me see. The comments are moving so fast right now. I can't even keep up. Let's move on. We did have a massive liquidation late last week as well. It was the second highest liquidation we had all 2025. And there's different perspectives on these liquidations. One of them is, I think James Check, he analyzed all these metrics. I look at them too. But liquidation volume gives us a read on the number of degens that are out there, the gamblers, the speculators. And when they are flushed from the system, many people see that as a good sign because it means, okay, we got rid of all the degens, all the longs and the shorts, and now we can just move forward with the bull market. And again, not all of the $8 billion in closed-out futures and open interest was liquidated, but a huge chunk of it was. And the clearing of this speculative excess is normally good for the market to reset and get on with the next leg. So we'll see if that happens. Also, options from James Check. This is pretty cool. This chart constructs the probability cone of the percentage chance of where the options players are making their bets and how high we could go. If we take the two most extreme levels as being improbable, only 10% chance, it was just option traders assign an 80% chance that Bitcoin ends 2025 between 86K and 158K. Okay, call it 90K and 160K for giggles. That's the range that the Bitcoin options bettors are betting we will close at before year end, which is not bad. And the skew is very bullish. If we take the middle of the road sign of where the option players think we're going to get to 120K. So that's actually a positive. It's up from where we are right now today. It's a 10% chance we close over 158K. 30% chance we close over, I can't read that number, but it's very close to about 150K. And we'll see. We'll see where we go from here. Either way, this is pretty bullish looking too. And we have the so-called highest IQ guy in the world. He's a 36-year-old South Korean. His name is Jung-Hoon Kim. He just put all of his wealth into Bitcoin. Now, the joke is, I shouldn't be mean, but I will. Why is he just investing in Bitcoin now? Why didn't he, with all of his IQ, buy it at the bottom of the bear a couple of years ago at 15.5 or in 2020 at under $4,000? I don't know. But, Bitcoin is an IQ test and you get it at the price you deserve. So I will openly debate his so-called IQ of 276 or whatever because he's late to Bitcoin. Now, assume he is just late and he was busy doing other stuff like expanding his IQ. He predicts that Bitcoin will grow at least 100 times in the next 10 years. And if his forecast comes true, the price will be more than 10 million in 10 years. So call it 2034, 2035, we get to a $10 million Bitcoin. So just sharing the news here. Don't peg your hopes and dreams to it, but it is interesting nonetheless. Now, Bernstein, also Hopium Kings. This is why I named the video I did today. They believe the bull market will not only continue into 2026, but also through 2026 until 2027. And they predict a $200,000 Bitcoin by next year. By the way, they predicted a $200,000 Bitcoin by Christmas. So they're moving their goalposts. So keep an eye on that. They do that all the time. But either way, we'll see. And I have said there's a good 20% chance that we have something like the Bitcoin the gold bull run after the gold ETF came out. There was 8 years of straight up. Who knows if we get the same thing for Bitcoin? Possible. It's scarcer than ever before. And there's treasuries, there's sovereigns, everybody's jumping in. Pensions, Vanguard is now coming with 10 trillion. We have family offices that have wealth of above 70 million per family. 30% of them said they would deploy into Bitcoin. There's a lot of money still coming, and we're still early. So that is quite bullish. Is it theoretically possible that Bernstein is right? We run until 2027? I think yes, there's a 20 to 30% chance we could. It'll be bumpy along the way, but we'll see. Anyway, moving on. Other baggers, Tether just bought another 8,800 Bitcoin. I tracked their wallet, and I think they had about 80,000 before, so they should have about 86 to 88,000 now. And they just bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's how much Tether makes, by the way. They put their profits into Bitcoin, which is a very clever strategy. And now soon, I reckon maybe before the year end or early next year, they'll have over 100,000 Bitcoin. Either way, it's fun to watch. Now, let's go back to flows by assets. Follow the money. Last week, 719 million fell out of Bitcoin. 409 million fell out of Ethereum. And Solana brought in nearly 300 million. By far the biggest week ever in the history of Solana happened last week. And we don't even have the ETFs yet. Wild. And I'll get to some more crazy Solana news in a second. Hold on for that. AltSeason began last week and it ended abruptly. As you said before, down to 65 again. Alts took it in the shorts. People are getting frustrated. Very frustrated. But hey, just be patient. Remember, the markets are things that move money and wealth from the impatient to the patient. Practice your patience. Very important. Let's move on. Top 50 over the last week. I don't know what IP is, but it went up really fast and then fell down really fast as well. And yeah, everything pretty much down across the board last week, a weak week for crypto. Last week in September, I was actually fearing that it could be catastrophic and we could get a Rektember late. I kept it very quiet to myself. I didn't want to worry anybody, but I thought maybe there could be a chance that history would repeat, but it didn't. And Rektember didn't happen, unless, of course, it's going to happen in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 hours before it closes. Thank you, Piper, for coming. Now, Eric Balchunas. He is the god of ETFs. He knows more about crypto ETFs than probably anybody on the planet. And he says now, the Sol ETFs are all coming, 100% probability right now. And he also said they could come any day. So be ready. We're excited for that. And 21 Shares had this cool Solana study. They calculated the value using discounted cash flow of Solana based on the revenue it makes with extremely high discount rates of 11% and 22%. And they calculated with an 11% discount rate. Remember, the discount rate for a stock is typically 6% or so. They took nearly double that. The price per sol should be $1,800 based on their DCF model. It is, and I've been shouting from the rooftops for years, it's crazy undervalued. Now, 21 Shares is listening. Good job on them. If you take a 22% discount rate, which is 3x, 4x the normal discount rate, the price per sol should be $520. Wild. Now, even more interesting in their study, and I've been comparing Sol to other names for years and years, and I always said it's absolutely screamingly cheap. If you take the same methodology to value Solana compared to Ethereum, Avalanche, Ton, and Binance, Solana, if it was measured the same way as Ethereum, it would be priced at $708 today. If it was priced the same way as Avalanche, it would be $1,830. If it was priced the same way as Toncoin, the whatever that is, to be $2,200, and Binance be $546. So again, it's very, very undervalued, my friends. Now, speaking of the Solana ecosystem and 21 Shares, 21 Shares just launched a Jupiter ETP, offering investors exposure to the trading hub of Solana, where you can do perps, swaps, all that type of stuff, borrow against your crypto, and it's a super cool platform. Hasn't gone anywhere this bull run, but remember, the banana zone could still come. Throw me a banana sign. If you a banana emoji, I can't dig one up myself, and I'll throw it up here. But the banana zone, people still expect to come. Let's get into stocks real quick for a second. Fear and greed is 50, the exact same as crypto. Wild. In fact, let's see if the stocks have done anything crazy. I mean, yes, a lot of big names are up today. Tesla for the week up just under 1%, NVIDIA just under 2%, Apple down, Microsoft 0.5%, Google down, Meta down. Again, not much happened, but NVIDIA, even though it's just a small move of up 2% for the week, It's a massive market cap now. But let's talk about Tesla for a second. I talk a lot about Tesla synergy. And just to give you an example of what synergy means for Tesla, they have all the engineering teams working on their supercharging capability. Think of these as a global network of gas stations out there. This global network of gas stations was built with a combination of tools and parts and technology from Megapack, Powerwall, Sexy Vehicles, and many other players. All the best teams all working together to make this a reality. That's the unique value proposition that Tesla has. They even bring in SpaceX materials for things like the Cybertruck to make it bulletproof. But now these V4 cabinets can charge at 500 kilowatts or something, a very, very fast charge rate. So you can charge up your entire car literally in minutes. There's no longer even enough time to do a bathroom break. Sometimes I used to actually stop to charge my Cybertruck, and I'd have just enough time to go get a sandwich and a coffee. I can't do that anymore. It's too fast, which is a pain. Anyhow, oh, sometimes a bathroom break too. Let me see. Too much information. And this, in my humble opinion, is quite optimistic. Kalshi is betting on 509,000 vehicle deliveries this quarter, which I think could be on the high end. If they break 500,000, that will be a record. The previous record is about 488,000, if I recall. And NVIDIA hits $4.54 trillion. That market cap is wild. Remember, everybody's now talking about, oh, who's going to be first to 10 trillion? We'll see. Will NVIDIA double? Or will Tesla basically 10x? I think NVIDIA could hit 10 trillion first. We shall see. Either way, the wealth that's being made around AI is incredible. Please get some exposure. And finishing up with meme du jour, lots of talk about digital IDs and central bank digital currencies and all that good stuff. But remember, they can only control us because we use their currency. If we stop using their currency, they can't control us. That's the story, my friends. All these videos are turned into Substacks, podcasts, less than 10 cents a day. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you all for coming. I'll see you all tomorrow. Banana Zone. Where's the banana zone? I gotta pull up a banana. There's got to be a banana somewhere. Somebody throw me a banana. For the banana zone. Nobody wants the banana zone. Oh, they just expect it. There it is. There it is. I love it. From Chris. He gave me 4 bananas. I love it. Thank you all. Thank you to the mods of the chat. Big thank you to James out there in New Zealand, Psych Experience, Zeno, Forrest, Cat with a K, Anglo Blackson, AR Ron, and Piper. Appreciate you all. Have a good night. Bye-bye.